you don't know how empowering hijab is until you put it on. Like imagine all of you today and the other 50 girls that participated that aren't here with us. You took the challenge to wear the hijab for one day. Imagine you're making that decision and you know you're going to be wearing hijab for the rest of your life. Imagine how much of a commitment that is. Alhamdulillah, I'm a very impulsive person. I make decisions just like in a second and I don't think about it. So I went to an Islamic camp. My family just generally, they wear hijab very later on in their lives. It wasn't something that was really talked about in my household at the time. Alhamdulillah, we're not like that anymore. But so I went to Islamic camp, was wearing hijab the whole time, and the next day was my first day of high school. I don't know what made me decide to do this, but I just put on hijab and went to school. And my mom was telling me, "You're not going to the masjid, Dina. Why do you have this on your head?" I was like, "I'm going to wear hijab today. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise. That's it." And subhanAllah, I went from being this really shy, pushover personality, which obviously anyone who knows me knows I'm not like that anymore, to like this completely different person. Every time someone said anything about Islam, I just had all of these things. I don't even know where the words were coming from. Like just all these, all these verses from the Quran were coming to my head, and I was telling people about Islam. I don't even know, subhanAllah, I had no idea where any of it came from. It was just like, words were coming out. And I think that still happens to me where when people ask me questions, words just come out and they sound so good and I'm like, subhanAllah, I don't even remember reading that. So, and then it's still right, subhanAllah. So, it's so empowering to wear hijab. It's not, you get like, brother was saying, you get named, you get like people making fun of you and all these different things. I went to a high school where there were no Muslims but me. And obviously I always had to prove myself. But either it makes you or breaks you. And that's why when you put on the hijab, you have to know that you can handle it. I didn't do that, but alhamdulillah, I was, able to do it. And to enlighten people about Islam, starting an MSA at school, it's just, all of it just happened, and you don't even know how it all happened. And it's all like in God's hands, and He just made it all work out. And within those 4 years, alhamdulillah, all of the friends I had in high school know what hijab is, know what Islam is. I had an MSA, and all of the members were non-Muslim. So we didn't have any Muslims to join the club. So, and it was amazing. SubhanAllah, you have like, Latinas and everything at masjids, like raising money for Pakistan and all this kind of stuff. And you wouldn't really see that. And SubhanAllah, it's what hijab does to you. Without hijab, I wouldn't have done any of these things. I wouldn't have had the courage to do any of these things. Because I put it on, I felt like I had to prove myself. I had to show that I was a leader, that I was no longer the shy person that's going to get pushed around. Because I was standing for something more than myself. I was standing up for Islam. And Allah, alhamdulillah, put that in me, that power in me to do it. And so I'm so proud of everyone that participated today, because nobody understands how big of a challenge it really is to be Muslim, to wear a hijab, until you actually do it. And I commend all of you for taking on that challenge. Yeah.
I just want to say a really quick comment. I went to Norco High School. Many of you guys do not know that because it's literally in the middle of nowhere. It's like inside of Corona, and it was consisted of literally only Caucasian people. Like really, it was like intermixed. And I think our high school was right next to a farm. Like I'd be walking to class and have a chicken walk to me like next door. So my point is that when I first put it on, it was freshman year, and it was really, really hard for me to go into school where I was the only one to wear the scarf. Literally, like every week, I'd have at least like 2 racist slurs like thrown at me. I'd have my scarf tugged at me before. I ran track, and even when I run track and I go back towards the crowd area, like people would still throw racist slurs, like while I'm freaking racing. But I guess it helped in a way, because it just made me want to run faster. It wasn't until junior year until I realized that, like, out of all the attention that I got, out of all people picking at me, I'd rather get the attention and get people staring at me for something I'm doing right, rather than for something that I'm doing that would be wrong. And it wasn't until junior year until I figured that out, and it wasn't until I felt very confident with myself. So I just want to let you, hijab, know that, like, you have to be confident with what you're wearing and just know that you're representing Islam and you're representing yourself, and you can be independent while wearing it, and you can still do everything that you want to do. And yeah, so just, it wasn't literally until I felt confident with myself, until after that moment, I never got not one like racist slur thrown at me. So it was kind of crazy. So now it's more like, yeah, we're square with you.
We're going to have to wrap it up, so 10 minutes, and then we'll announce the run.
So I just wanted to make a couple quick points. Number one, I really want to thank every single girl that put it on today, because I know like one thing even that I struggled with before putting on hijab was I saw like, I mean, this is the thing is, you think there's misconceptions within like the Western community, there's misconceptions within our own Muslim communities, you know? One thing that I remember I used to see was I would see like hijabis and stuff, girls that wore hijab in my own community back home, and I would be like, oh man, like you're so shy, like, you know, like all these different things, and you just think that these girls are like, you think that they're different somehow, like, oh, okay, like, I don't know, they're just weird, they're different, you know? But one thing that I hope that you guys all learned is like at the end of the day, we're all, you know, we're very much similar. Like, you know, putting on like a scarf on your head is not gonna like change like my desires or the fact that I'm a human being or that I like to, you know, go and eat at nice places or go and have fun, you know? And like we have different personalities, like you can even see just from all the girls that came up, like, you know, we have girls that, you know, are really into fashion, we have girls that are a little bit like, you know, like louder than others and more politically oriented, like, you know, we have all colors of the rainbow. Just because we're wearing a hijab, like, you know, it doesn't make any difference. So I hope that that humanizes us to you, and hopefully you can share that with other people as well. The second thing that I find really beautiful about like hijab is what Islam is not just about like your own needs, but it's a lot about even placing the needs of others like on top of, ahead of your own, and not making life harder for other people also. So, I mean, I find what's really beautiful about like the hijab, and maybe some of the bros even mentioned this, is like, you know, that it helps keep them in check, is that, you know, like it is hard, you know, like for guys, they have like certain things that are just inherent in them, and like for them to like, you know, not have to struggle, you know, when they see another girl wearing hijab, that's a beautiful thing too. So, you know, it's not just that you're helping yourself, but you're helping others at the same time. So it's a give and take, you know, it's kind of beautiful. So, and that's the other thing too is, third thing is, let me just tell you that I've never felt, and I've never, like every single time I see a girl, they always, whenever they put on hijab, somehow they look even more beautiful than when they didn't. And I myself have never felt more beautiful than like until after I started wearing hijab. Like, you know that whole thing that one of the girls is saying, like, you know, the guys see girls and they're like, dang, that girl is fine, right? Like I go home and I like take off and I'm just like, dang, dude, like I'm pretty fine. Makes you appreciate your own beauty too, you know? Not just other people appreciating your beauty, but it makes you appreciate your own beauty.
I just had a quick comment to say, but basically, the most important thing is for me to realize that I shouldn't care about what people think, you know, whatever they say, that's not important. And that's what makes you have this confidence. And then that confidence makes you do such amazing things that you never thought you could. Like, you know, I wouldn't have ever thought, kind of reiterating what Dina said, but like, you know, she wouldn't have ever done things that she did with the scarf on. And I mean, I was captain of a lacrosse team. I mean, would you ever like even think that's possible? But I mean, I did that, and I didn't feel like, you know, my hijab constrained me or stopped me from doing what I am or who I am or who I want to be.